everyone. My name is Dr. Kuria Kiboi, and I want to demonstrate how to the proper way of planting seedlings to avoid losses, potential losses when they are being planted and after planting. There are many things that can happen that can make these plants not establish themselves, but we want to avoid this. So it is still the dry season. We are maybe expecting rains in 2 weeks, but I want to plant at least a few seedlings to demonstrate that you can still do this during the dry season as you wait for the rains, and the same method can be used when the rains come. So this video is going to form an overall demonstration. What I'm holding here is a polymer called AquaSorb. This is a super absorbent polymer. It comes in granular form, and just as I start, I want to make it absorb, because it absorbs water. So one grain can absorb up to 400 or 500 times its water, its own size. So I want to put it in this amount of water. I have about 5 liters of water here, and this is about 30 grams, which you normally can use around the planting hole. Once you place the plug, I'll just show without removing the paper. You can, once you adjust the hole size, you can pour the granules. But because you may not have enough water to do the watering in the dry season, you can now dissolve it in water, and then use that gel to put around the planting hole. So as this continues dissolving, I want now to show you some standard operating procedures that are good for planting. When you have this seedling here, the most important thing as you start your planting is to make sure that this paper comes out without disturbing this soil. Number 2, it is very important to have this pouch carrying with the soil already carrying enough water to support the plant to grow during, like now when there's no rain. So what do? You have a bucket of water like this one, and dip the plant. You can see bubbles coming out. You can see bubbles coming out. So the bubbles is about water displacing the air in the bag. So you dip the plant in water like this until the bubbles stop coming out. Not for too long, not for too short time. You can see they're just about to stop coming out, meaning that the whole bag has taken enough water. So like this one is ready. And be careful when you're holding so that the plant doesn't come out of the soil. This one is still bubbling, so we can give it a few more seconds for the displacement to take place. Okay? And I'm specifically going to demonstrate my planting technique using this tree. This is a landscaping tree called flamboyant tree, so I'm going to use it for the demonstration. So we can say that it's just about complete. So the next thing you do is to make sure that the size of the planting hole is good enough, not too deep and not too shallow. So if you plant at that level, you are going to bury the stem, and if you bury the stem, this plant will definitely dry, because the bark is going to rot and the plant dies off slowly. So what do? You are supposed to size the hole by backfilling it to ensure that the level you want is where the soil level is. So I return some of the soil back into the hole. Yeah, I return some of the soil, of course removing the plant debris like the grass roots and so on. So that is a good level. All right, and then now the next thing now is for me to remove the paper. And because the paper I've already dipped in water, it's wet, and I can squeeze my bag like this to ensure that the soil is not disturbed. It still sticks to the plant roots. Okay, so this now is ready for removal of the bag, because if you remove it wrongly, this plant within a day, by midday, it will have started withering, and that is what we want to avoid, because we are actually planting during the dry season, and we want this plant to stand as it is now and to stay as it is until the rains come. So you put your finger, your palm upright, and place the stem between your fingers, and slowly shake the bag, pulling it upwards. You can see the whole root is intact, the formation is compact, and there is no disturbance of the soil around the roots. And then now you can place your plug inside the planting hole. Okay, you can see the whole plant is standing properly. And now what remains, you can now put back the soil. But as I had explained earlier, already have the AquaSorb. Now it's not completely swollen, but it's still taking up the water. You can see the gels have started expanding. The individual grains have started expanding, meaning that it's taking in water. If you give it another 5 to 10 minutes, it's going to be a complete gel around in the bucket. But because I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes, I'll now pour the solution around the hole. Remember, this is an option for dry season planting. You can still do the granular form. If it's wet, you can apply just without. But the good thing with the AquaSorb is that it stays in the soil for 4 to 5 years. So you can actually expect it to keep absorbing and releasing water until the plant establishes. Within 5 years, this plant will be big enough. And so for now, I'm just going to pour the gel around the hole, meaning that this plant is carrying with it enough water to support it even for the next 1 month. You don't expect this plant to wither or to have signs of stress because of lack of water with this technology. So then the next thing is now to put back the soil around the hole. I can start with the topsoil that was put aside and put it back into the hole. The topsoil, of course, has more nutrients, and those are the nutrients we want to go back to the hole. So I put it back. I pull the soil back, okay, until I bury the root crown. The root crown is where the roots start, around where the plug starts. Okay, and now we have done our job. I've demonstrated how to do dry season planting. This tree, if you come at midday is when, especially with this kind of sun, is when you see a plant that is stressed. It's going to be standing the way it is. The leaves are going to be just with no stress, no sign of withering. So the next thing you can do, you can now put mulching. Mulching prevents evaporation and keeps the moisture around the plant. So mulching, basically you can pick any plant biomass like grass and put it around the base of the plant. You can do enough of it. And where there are termites, for those species that are prone to termite attack, you can leave some space just around the stem to avoid the termites eating your stem out. Okay, it depends on, some species are not affected by termites, but some are. And lastly, now you can do your watering. So thank you very much. I've just demonstrated a technique that can be used for dry season planting, whether